Hi, I'm here with Phil Wainewright. He's been covering the cloud or SaaS industry for the last decade. It's considering a leading authority in it. And we're here in London. You see Big Ben in the background here, and the River Thames is in the background too. I'm here with CloudBlog, talking with Phil about the state of computing. Where is it today, do you think, Phil?
Well, I think it's in a state of huge flux at the moment, and talking to people today at Cloudforce, it's been very interesting to talk about some of the things that are going on, people challenging established vendors by building on Force.com, people in the professional services arena who are working to help businesses understand how to do their development, how to do continuous implementation of cloud applications in a way that they're not used to doing, because the old waterfall method of development really doesn't deliver the benefits that people need, doesn't deliver the cost benefits when you're working with cloud computing. So there's this huge turnaround that traditional enterprise IT people have got to make to actually get the value out of cloud computing. And then there's a huge amount of new things that you can do that are actually impacting the capacities of some businesses and giving them the opportunity to actually get some competitive advantage, provided that they can actually transform themselves to take advantage of the cloud itself.
When you started covering cloud computing, what inspired you to cover it a decade ago when it really didn't exist as a term?
That was an interesting time. It was in the mid-1990s. I was looking at this whole new breed of web application servers that first started to come out, and the internet was a publishing mechanism, a very rudimentary publishing mechanism that was really thought of as something for consumers and academics and maybe a few geeks. And I thought to myself, well, wouldn't it be really interesting if you could use the web to do stuff that's valuable to businesses? And one of the things that obviously seemed to make sense would be to deliver applications and business services over the web, rather than having them running internally on existing computer plant. And you would get the economies of scale of being able to do things on the web. But actually, I think one of the interesting things is that it's crept up on us. We take it for granted for a long time. We never thought of Google, for example, as a search engine, as being an application. In fact, I think one of the reasons that Yahoo went completely wrong was because it had a management put in place that saw the web as a publishing platform rather than as an application platform. And now we see companies like Google and Amazon and eBay and other companies that have come up and used the web as a platform for doing things, have been very successful in the enterprise application space. We're now seeing companies like Salesforce and other companies that have grown up and become very powerful organizations now, and enabling organizations, enabling enterprises. I've completely lost my way there, so you'll have to cut this bit of the interview.
No.
Okay, thanks very much. I'm trying to shift away from because there's this divide in people's minds that says, well, consumer stuff, that's not relevant to enterprise computing, because enterprise computing is this thing that's up here on a pedestal, and the whole point of enterprise computing is to stop people getting involved and messing things up. We've got to let the machines take care of it, because we know that we can't trust people. They're emotional, they make mistakes. We've got these lovely glossy machines that, as long as they tick away in their little room with the people in white coats looking after it, then everyone else doesn't have to worry. And what that ignored was that, for example, Google became a powerhouse because actually it was delivering advertising as a service to enterprises. And I think we've heard, who is it? AT&T spent $8 million advertising on Google last month. So advertising, there was never an application you could buy from Oracle or SAP to do advertising. So people never took it seriously as an enterprise application category. So Google managed to capture web advertising as a service without anyone even realizing that it was becoming this big powerhouse of that particular application being provided to enterprises. Now, Google's not been successful so far in delivering other applications to enterprise. There are certain things that you need to do when you're actually doing things like collaboration platforms. There are certain things that you need to deliver that that Google is not getting right yet in terms of quality of service. Well, they're interesting. They do understand the importance of quality of service with advertising. But the point that I'm making here is that we've got this mental divide that says that, well, enterprise computing is a certain set of things. You've got your ERP stack, you've got your CRM stack, you've got all of that, and everything that happens on the web is to do with consumers. And then you've got the emergence of this social web, which suddenly that's making people very confused, because the social web, that's all about people, isn't it? So it's down in this consumer space, and enterprise computing is about not letting the people get involved. So this social web thing, it must be some flaky thing that's to do with people and is not to do with the enterprise. And it's quite amazing. We've got to this state in people's thinking that the enterprise is this machine that people are not relevant to. And actually, an enterprise is an organisation that brings people together to actually achieve a common business pursuit. And so what the social web technology is enabling, the social web movement is enabling, it's reconnecting actually the enterprise computing machine back with the people who actually are in charge of the enterprise, who should be in charge of the enterprise. And the great thing about social computing is that it's actually automating the stuff that people do with each other, the collaboration, the interchange of information, and it allows them, using this fantastic web infrastructure, to do that across distance, across time zones, and just get rid of all the friction that used to be involved in getting things done as an organisation. And actually was one of the reasons why we had to have huge corporations that had everything within a single organisation, because the friction involved in doing those things between different enterprises was so much greater. And now, of course, that friction is going away, and we're seeing enterprises reinvent themselves as much more dispersed, much more fragmented ecosystems of activity. So all of that is going on, and I think that's why we've got this tremendous flux in enterprise computing and in organisations as well, where the old way of doing things was predicated on this kind of very mechanistic view of established processes, that if only we could get the machines to do them properly, then everyone else could go and lie on the beach. And actually...
Can you name some names?
Let's not go there. I mean, I just think that we've got... I was just had a little announcement of competing with us there. But just to close up, I think that what's really exciting now is that we've got finally we're reaching a point where we've mechanised most of the things that can be mechanised. We've still got a little way to go there, but the final frontier really is actually allowing people to get on and do their stuff on top of all this automation. And enterprises have got to adjust to that, and they are going to find themselves tremendously transformed by the new ways of working and of organising that this infrastructure is going to enable.